these topics from my opinion and the knowledge I have from today. So this obviously changes as life goes on, but as I'm sitting here today, like what my beliefs are and what I think, in my opinion right now, I do believe that we need to first have the masculine to then be able to embody the feminine. Because for you to be in your feminine, for you to be in a less competitive working environment, and for you to be so like masculinely driven and everything to be on like this 24-hour cycle, you need to have some type of security and safety. And that's where masculinity comes in, where there's a masculine presence that's removing that stress. It's providing for you so you don't have to be in such a stressful state 24/7. That is why I believe it is the masculine's responsibility first to establish these boundaries. One more thing before we get started is I'm going to do a question and answer video. So if you guys can follow me on my Instagram, I'm going to post a story like with the questions, and you guys can like put your questions in there, and then I will collect all those questions and then put them in a video, and I'll go through the questions and then answer them all and like make a long video. So if you guys want a question to be answered, just go on my Instagram. The link is in the description. It's just a button indigo. So femininity. I feel like this video is really hard for me to make because there's always like criticisms, there's always difference in opinion. Everyone has a difference in opinion. Everyone has a different interpretation of what divine masculine means and divine feminine, just femininity and masculinity. For me to really make an entire video, it is a little bit nerve-wracking because I know I'm gonna get hate comments on something I've said. Like no matter what I say, like, we're just gonna make this video anyways. Guys, if you are in the comments on my video, it's adding to the comments of my video. So femininity, in my opinion, is nurture. Nurture is the number one. So to have a nurturing aura, you have the tendency to make things more comforting and more warm. A man brings you the house and then the woman makes it a home. I want to first talk about, and I always talk about this in my videos, is acknowledgement and being honest. So I want you guys to acknowledge, if this is your goal and if you've clicked on this video and if you search this topic up about how to be more feminine and how to embody femininity, this is what I feel as me today would give you as advice into becoming more feminine or embodying the feminine, which people have differences of opinions with that, where they say there's no embodying the feminine, you already are feminine, you just have to realize the parts of you that are feminine. And so comes into my next point, which is being honest about what you're doing, and is it a more feminine nature or is it a more masculine nature? Me making YouTube videos and scheduling things and thinking about trends, thinking about how to structure this, thumbnails, titles, like being on time with videos and whatever I need to do, that's masculine. Now, if you look at it as like the creation, sitting down, thinking of an idea, using your creativity to make a video, write it, that's the feminine, where it's like more flowing and it's more like, it's not as structured, where it's just kind of more like you're freely doing something. That's the feminine aspects. And with life, there's always a balance. And sometimes there's these videos on YouTube where I've seen like where women are just like, these are feminine body language, like feminine body language, like you can only do this, you can't do this. Feminine styles of clothing, you can only dress like this, you can't wear this type of stuff. Or just like how to look more feminine and just things like that. If you are serious about this concept and you are serious about creating a more feminine life for yourself, I want you to genuinely be honest with yourself. What are the actions that you're doing in your day? Go through them like on a list of like everything you do during the week, how you structure your week, and then be honest with, is this like a feminine, is this coming from like feminine intention, or is this coming from like masculine intention? What we're gonna find out a lot of the time is we are a lot more on the other side than we were expecting, or you're pleasantly surprised and you're like, oh, this is actually a lot more feminine than I was expecting. But I also want to give some disclaimers, because structuring your week in a work week, like of like a masculine week, that could be your masculine like balance to your feminine energy, which is when you're not working, you are in your feminine, like you're playful, you're loving, you're nurturing, whatever else you're doing, like you're just being like in your creative feminine bubble. And then when you're at work, you're in your masculine bubble, where you're kind of like have a schedule, like you're more routine. And then there's some people that don't shut it off And this is kind of partly the motivation for making this video, is that people sometimes become exhausted because the way they're living is out of alignment with their true nature. So if your true nature is to be feminine and you feel exhausted because you've been working 5-6 days a week, you're overworked, you're overburdened, you're going home and you're also feeling masculine because you're having to be in survival mode. This is kind of something that I've fallen into in the past, is just overburdened with like masculinity, because you're like constantly having to be in this like providing and protecting yourself. That's where it becomes exhausting, and that's where you have to take the time to research and to shift certain things you're doing in your week and in your day and in your routines that are going to be more feminine and more feminine centered. Videos like this is like very triggering for some people, so I completely understand if like this is not where you are right now. Just click out. Like, this is not for you, it's not for you. But some people really need this because they are genuinely drained and exhausted, and they don't understand why, and they don't understand like how much of their day and how much of their week is masculine focused. It's okay to have masculine things going on. That's literally what I said about the balance. We have to have some type of balance. This is what keeps us not too much. Like, if we're just too feminine, we just are, it's just too much, right? There needs to be balance, okay? That's why the earth needs to be cold and hot. It can't just be all hot, all yang, and then it can't just be all yin and just be cold. These are things that are gonna be a pattern in life. You're gonna see them everywhere. The most masculine men are attracted to the most feminine women, and the most feminine women are attracted to the most masculine men. And then the people that are kind of here are attracted to people that are kind of here. They sometimes just go together because they balance each other out. Rather than someone that's super feminine, they wouldn't really want a feminine man because they already have that energy themselves. She needs someone with structure, with routine, with stability, reliability, and with commitment. So masculine traits are someone that is showing up consistency. The sun, it comes up every day. It's consistent. You know that you're going to be warmed by the sun, this yang energy every day. You should know and rely that this masculine is protecting and providing consistently. Feminine, this is not as consistent. You have to think about our menstrual cycles. They're inconsistent. 1 week you're having cramps, 1 week you're not having cramps. All throughout the month, it's inconsistent. Is that, like, eventually that's consistent, like, every month? It's kind of, you know, but there's inconsistencies rather than men are every single day. They're the same. They're 24-hour cycle, and then we're running on the 28-day cycle. These are completely different. And you can understand why a woman that's running on this 28-day cycle is exhausted from trying to catch up to a man that's running on this 24-hour cycle. And if we don't give ourselves grace, then we're going to be exhausted. We're going to be burnt out. So we need to give ourselves this like pardon, this grace, not because we can't work hard and because we're lazy, but because this is just the cycle that we work on, and we need periods of rest. We need periods of restoration. And this is why it's important to take care of yourself and to nurture yourself. This is why it's important to go to like spas and to do self-care days and just like self-care rituals, nurturing things for yourself, like just caring about your health, caring about your well-being, caring about your appearance, like your hygiene. Like, these are just feminine traits because we're putting energy into ourselves. Instead of just work, we're taking a break to rest, and we're taking a break to restore ourselves and recharge ourselves because we get burnt out. I know you've seen the podcast, we need more sleep than men. It's just the way it is. And if you're not having that sleep, you need to understand that's why you're burnt out. That's why you're tired. That's why things in your life feel disconnected. The systems that are set up are not fair to us. They're not ideal systems, right? But this is what we have to work with, and you need to work around it. Like, you need to acknowledge what's going on in your life, acknowledge the circumstances, and then think, how can I make this better for myself? How can I make this so I can nurture my femininity more? The very least you can do is to give yourself grace and to give yourself room to take breaks. And now we're going to get into the more fun of it. So if that's one thing you're going to get from this beginning of this video, I want you guys to really acknowledge that women need breaks. Okay, we need times of rest and relaxation, and we need periods of retreat. Retreat means like leaving the world behind. Like, we need to completely huddle up in a room. We need to be like within ourselves, acknowledging our emotions. Like, we can't just bottle these things up. It's not good. You cannot bottle emotions up. You need to release the emotions, okay? And I mentioned this in previous videos. Take the time, like, be by yourself and release those emotions. You don't have to do this in public. You don't have to do this away. Like, you can do this away from everyone, okay? Make a promise to yourself in the moment. Like, there's something happening. There's things you need to process. There's things you need to, like, deal with. Say, okay, this is maybe not the time right this second. I'm gonna, like, zip this up for now, but you have to promise yourself that you're gonna go home and then deal with them. Open that can of worms later, okay? You need to have a period where you are completely diving into the emotions, journaling about them. Journaling about them is the easiest thing to do because you just open your journal, write. I have problems writing. Like, for some reason, my writing is just, it's outworldly. Like, I don't know. My handwriting is just crazy. So that's like the one deterrent I have from like journaling. But when I journal, I feel so much better. Like, I take my time because my writing is so messy. I'll try to like pace myself and I'll write slower because I write so fast. And when you try to like just relax, just write what you're thinking, get it all out. Worst case scenario, if you don't want anyone to see this, just rip it up to tiny pieces, put it into separate garbage cans if it's that serious. Throw it out into a whole different, like, just throw it out anywhere, okay? I don't know. But you guys need to write it all down. No matter how hard these emotions are to process, write it out. Even the hardest things that you can't even say out loud, like, make sure at the very least you are writing them out. There are so many things, there's so many like dark secrets that you have that you just cannot get out, and you can't get them past your throat. Like, you just can't say them out loud. I want you guys to at least write them down. Like, we are not neglecting our emotions. It is way too late on in the century for this. Okay? We are all aware that women have emotions. We are all aware that we need to process emotions. We are all aware that everybody has emotions. I'm saying women, but men, they need to process these emotions too. Men process emotions in different ways. When they're at the gym, when they're playing sports, when they're like, I don't know, playing some type of game, or I don't know, fighting it out with their bros, like, they release emotions differently. And men should be able to cry. They should be able to release the emotions. Like, it's incredibly important. This is for men too. And I don't want to hear I don't have a journal. If you have a phone, you can write this down in a notes app. There's a journal app that's like journal, whatever. It has like a passcode on it. You can write your passcode and then you just journal in there. And then you just put the date it's under, and then whatever. There's so many apps. There's no excuses for your lack of journaling or lack of writing. There's paper everywhere, first of all. Everyone has a piece of paper somewhere. And then you have a phone. And you can just literally write it all out, and then you can just press delete. Most likely, once you write it out, you're not going to want to delete it. You're not going to be as prone to deleting it, but I want you to have that security option that, okay, it's like, I have that security that, like, if I want to delete this and I don't feel comfortable, I can delete it. So if you need to do it, just write it all out and then just press backspace. At least you're getting it out in some type of, like, in some degree. The more you can get out, the better. Because when you say things and when you talk about them, and especially if you can talk about them with others and have other people's opinions and have other people's, like, being like, oh, that is really, like, something that you went through. Like, just seeing other people's perspectives sometimes is all you need to keep moving forward and process these emotions. So I want you guys to really take this into consideration and really just find some type of method or way that you can process your emotions the best possible, like, way. Another aspect of balance I want to touch on quickly before moving on is enlightenment versus grounding. So sometimes when we're in such like a spiritual realm of activity and like femininity, you can feel so enlightened and you can feel so like light. And sometimes that can make you feel very dizzy and it can make you feel very not grounded. That's basically what's going on here. So the opposite of that spectrum is grounding yourself. Walking out in nature, putting your feet in the earth, that's grounding. It's something that is consistent. It's again with that masculine energy of like consistency, trust, putting yourself in something where it's like, oh, okay, I can relax. Sometimes with femininity, you're so like light and like, it's like you need to get out of that and kind of go do something that's more grounding. You can go shopping. That's something that is helping with grounding the energy. That's something you can do to ground yourself, like do something, watch a movie, go shopping or watch a reality show, this is some things that you can do to feel more grounded. Okay, just keep that in mind when working with like balance. Okay, we want to keep in the balance of everything, because sometimes when you do something and you become too extreme, then you feel the effects of dipping only in this one area. Like, you need to have a balance. Next, feminine aspects of your character. Like, how can we bring out feminine aspects of your character, and what does that mean? What it means is, okay, I'm going to give you my own personal experience. Everything I do in terms of work is very masculine. Like, I have a job where I have to see customers and clients. Like, I have to be on time, I have to be consistent, I have to be on a schedule. This is like masculine. This is masculine nature. So now when I turn off work, or when I have periods of like no work, then I have to dive into like the other aspect, and I have to nurture myself and recharge myself with feminine characteristics and feminine habits. So I'll take a day where I'm just like kind of treating myself, where like my house is a spa, where like I'm walking around and I feel like spa-like, and I'm like drinking a tea, and I'm like eating good nourishing foods, and I didn't just buy some food, fast food. Like, I made the food myself. I took the time. Everyone has different circumstances and allowances within their lives. Like, some people's lives don't allow for that, or don't allow for this, or some people's lives allow for so much more. So as much as you can, recharge yourself, okay? And if you cannot, find the smallest ways where you can. At least have some type of practice, prayer and meditation, where you can release this like outside force of needing like so much from you, and just like be still. You don't have to always be doing something. Do less, okay? Just be present. So if that's the very least you can do, is just like stop and do things for yourself. That is like the simplest way I can put it. The more time you have and the more allowance you have in your life, like I said, the more you can do. Just keep taking it as far as you can do it, where everything in your life is set up to take care of yourself. Everything in your life is set up where you're putting yourself first, prioritizing yourself first. Like, the pillowcases you're using, the bed sheets you're using, like everything is set up to comfort you and to bring you like peace and happiness and restoration and resetting you. Okay, another thing is physical activity. A lot of people are forced in this culture to like go to the gym and work out, just like how we see men working out on social media. We see men working out at a higher degree than women because their bodies should be working out at a higher degree than women. We don't want that. We don't want to burn ourselves out more than we already are burnt out. Okay? Do what physical activity works for you. If you really like lifting weights, you can do that. But don't do it to a point where you are burnt out and you are exhausted and it's like taking a toll on yourself. If you're doing something and it's working for you at the moment, just understand also that like life changes, bodies change. And if you are not super consistent with that, and if you miss a day at the gym or 2 days at the gym, and like, it's okay to miss days. It's okay to just be, okay? It's okay to change things up, because again, you're running on a 28-day cycle. You're not on a 24-hour cycle. So consistency looks like a lot different for women than it does for men. Some people like to just do some Pilates and yoga. For the past 2 weeks, I've just been doing hot yoga and I've loved it. I don't think my body is like super ready for just like intense hot yoga because my back has been hurting. Let me know if you guys also experience back pain after hot yoga, because I had this experience where I did hot yoga like way back in the day and I felt no body aches, and I felt like, oh my gosh, my body's like restored. It felt like I was like reborn. And so I had this like preconceived notion that if I was going to do hot yoga, I would feel so much more relief in my body pains. It just started to feel really painful, but I think maybe I wasn't squeezing the right muscles or something, I don't know. But tell me if you guys also feel the same, if you've done hot yoga and then you've had so much like aches afterwards. Do what works for you, right? So if light exercise works best for you, then do light exercise. If no exercise and just like walking around and doing sports works for you because that's your mode of exercise, then do that. Just because you followed this protocol that somebody else was doing, don't let that brainwash you think, oh, I feel better. No, you just think you feel better because you're doing what that girl's telling you to do or what that guy's telling you to do. What actually makes you feel best? What nourishes you like from another level? Like I said with the 28-day cycle, you want to also live according to your cycle. So I feel like once I've switched my mindset, like before it was just like, I don't know what month, I don't know what day it is, what time of my cycle it is, like I don't care, I don't know. Oh my gosh. And then I started to like think like, okay, I'm in my luteal phase right now. I need to like relax. I need to take some like steps back. I need to like relax, like just prioritize myself in the next couple days. Oh, it's my ovulation. I need to like get some stuff done. I can like, this is the time to like approach problems. This is the time to do this. This is the time to do that. Like, this is when I feel my best. I can do like a video in this time or whatever. Just acknowledge where you are at, okay? There's a million things you can look up. It's all over the internet. There's a million videos on it. I'm not going to do a specific video on like your cycle because I'm not an expert on cycles. But the main thing you should know, and the main thing that's helped me, is to identify your luteal phase. Your luteal phase is the most important phase, in my opinion, because this is the actual phase where you actually need rest. You're preparing for your period. This is where you're like extra hungry, you're extra tired, you're extra irritable, you're having the most like mood swings. And this is where you need to like actually nurture yourself and give yourself like the self-care that you need. The rest, you cannot be overworked during this week, or else you will literally shut down and you'll have so many breakdowns. And I've seen it with myself. I remember I started a job and my first week of training was all my luteal phase, and it was like a lot of driving, and I was like, I was done. I was like, I don't want to speak or see anyone. The week before your period, take care of yourself. Take extra care of yourself. That's it. So before I end this video, I want to ask you guys if you would love to see like a guide for the feminine and make it more detailed, and the nitty-gritty details of the feminine, like taking care of the feminine and just little things you can do, and like a beauty guide and a health guide. If you guys would want to see that, let me know and I can make it, and then like what exact aspects you want within that. Another thing, again, is like on my Instagram, you can ask the questions on there, or I'm going to give you another option of just putting the questions that you want me to answer in the comments of this video. So in the comments of this video, write a question that you want me to answer in my Q&A video that I will be doing next. So I want to give you guys a little bit of time to kind of write a question out, and then I can answer it. If you haven't watched my videos before, I'm Karina. I make videos on self-care, self-love, health, lifestyle, self-development, and leveling up. And I want you guys to center the questions around this, but if you guys have some other questions, we could definitely include those and see where the video goes. But I want to hear back from you guys. I want to hear back from my audience of what you want to see, what type of content you want me to make, because I've seen certain requests where I'm like, I don't know if this is like, I don't know if much people would want to watch this or what. So let me know what you guys would actually want to see. Okay, so I'm going to end the video there. I'm a health coach. If you guys want to work with me, my stuff is in the description. Message me on my platforms. I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you guys for watching.